My name is Lizzie, and this is Lizzie's Literary Life, and today we are doing my quarter 4 of 2025 wrap-up. You will see that I am in a new corner of my apartment. I sort of set it up the same way with the book cart, the TBR cart, and the genre blanket, which, by the way, in the next video, you will be seeing my new genre blanket from 2025 because that is done. But I'm in a new corner because we got a new bookshelf. It's mostly empty at this point. If you would like a bookshelf reorganization video, let me know, because currently all the books are on the other shelf. I moved some of the books that were on that shelf that were like on the floor or stacked really weirdly over here, and that's these piles. But otherwise, we have a lot of work to do, moving books from those shelves where they are stacked on top of everything to over here on the new shelf. But today we are here to do our quarter 4 of 2025 wrap up. That is October, November, and December of 2025. This is my new quarterly wrap up format. This is the second one, where I run you through my stats for the entire quarter, my favorite and least favorite books of the month, of the quarter, of the 3 months, as well as any honorable mentions. So that is what we are here to do today for October, November, and December of 2025. Starting off with some stats. In this quarter, I read 23 books, and that was 8,640 pages. Now, these are the pages that were finished in this quarter. You will see, we'll talk about it. There's a book that I have talked about so much, you absolutely know what it is, that I had been working on for about 8 months. I finished it in October. So all of those pages of that book, all 1,306 pages of that book, spoilers, it's War and Peace, all of those pages are counted in this 3-month span because I did finish it in October. I did not read the entirety of it in October. So that's, some of these numbers are, all of these numbers are including that. But you get the picture. So 23 books, 8,640 pages. We also have 73.2 hours of audiobook. That is the books that I listen to on audio added up to that number of hours. I spent a total of 112.06 hours reading this quarter. I need to get used to saying quarter instead of month when I do these stats. This was the total, actual time I spent reading as tracked by the Bookly app, including all of the hours from War and Peace. My average pages per book was 375, which actually is way lower than I thought it would be, considering this does include a 1,000-page book. So I guess I read some really short books this month, which is true. I read a lot of short sequels, novellas, and things for Squash That series in November. But they were balanced out by War and Peace, the 1,306-page behemoth. I spent an average of 20.96 days reading each book, which, again, like most of the books, I spent just a couple days reading, and then War and Peace, I spent 8 months reading. So, it's all an average. It averages out. My average rating was 3.09, which is really not very good. I wish I was liking my books more, but that's okay. Something to work on. Per day, on average, for these 3 months, I read an average of 94 pages, and I read for an average of 1.22 hours. That's about 1 hour and 12 or 13 minutes, according to my quick math. Genre-wise, you will see the pie chart on the screen, but we've got biggest chunk is fantasy, 8 fantasies, followed by 4 mystery thrillers and 4 romances. We had 3 historical, and then a smattering of contemporary, classic, and sci-fi. The sci-fi was rated the highest, or were on average rated the highest, but I only read one of them, so it was just a good sci-fi, as compared to like the mystery thrillers had an average rating of 2.6, which is awful, but there were 4 of them, so there were more to average out, if that makes sense. Age demographic wise, I read about 75% adult books, a little less than that. 5 young adult books, about 21%, and 1 middle grade book. And the young adult books were rated the lowest. The middle grade book was rated the highest on average, or rated higher than all of the adult books averaged together. We have format wise, 43% physical, 10 physical books, 7 books on audio, 5 books on ebook, and then there's 1 that I put in as hybrid because I think I read parts of it on audio and parts of it on ebook. So hybrid. The physicals were rated the highest. The audiobooks were rated the lowest, which is a trend that I have been noticing, which has contributed to my goal of reading fewer audiobooks in 2026, which we will talk about in my next video, which is, spoilers, going to be a 2025 wrap-up 2026 goals and plans, so look forward to that. As for where I acquired these books, the majority... 47% were from the library, 47% were owned. So really good on me for reading my owned books this month, this quarter. And then we had 1 book that I got from Spotify. Oh, books by month. I intended to do this one earlier, but that's okay. I only finished 2 books in October, but I finished 11 books in November and 10 books in December. So very imbalanced. I would be curious to see pages-wise how it breaks down, because the 2 books I finished in October were very long, but I'm not going to do that right now. Ratings-wise, it's really almost a bell curve, kind of. We have pretty much every rating represented except 5 and 1, but the most, there were 7 3 stars. So the highest, most common rating was 3 stars, 4 3.5s, 4 4s, and 4 2.5s. Only 1 4.5. So this was not really a great quality quarter for books, but that's okay. And then the last graphs I want to show you, I'm going to put them big on the screen, are my daily pages graphs. This is where I track how many pages I read of each book each day through these months. So here's October's. You'll see there were lots of days in October where I did not read at all, and I was only reading from 3 different books. 2 of them ended up finished in this month. But the days I did read a lot, maybe, but also the scale only goes up to 200, so it's not actually that much. November, I didn't read anything until November 7th, but once November 7th hit, Squash That Series started, and I was reading. So, lots of books in November. December, we started going to 1 book at a time more, not exclusively, but more. So you'll see like less mixing in and more like 1 book finished, another book started. So I think that's fun to see. And I am going to continue doing those daily pages graphs in 2026. So I am excited to see them. I actually might I'll do that in my 2025 wrap-up video. Never mind. And that is stats. That wraps up our stats section. And we are moving right along into I'm going to do my honorable mention first, and then we'll do worst books and best books, because I do have an honorable mention, and I've already talked about it. It's War and Peace. I don't need to say too much more about it, because I did a full review of it. It was supposed to be a vlog while reading it, and I lost a bunch of footage, but that's okay. I did a full review of it in my Jokes on Me episode 6 video, which I will link up here. And you can watch that for my full War and Peace experience. But I did finish War and Peace in this quarter, and I feel like it was an excellent accomplishment for me. It was one of the biggest book off my 30 by 30 list. And yeah, I read it. I gave it 3.5 stars, but I did like it. I did think it was worth it to read, so I'm glad I read it. I didn't love it. I didn't fall in love with it. Like, there were definitely parts that were boring and too long, but I did really like it, and I do feel very accomplished that I completed it. So that's my honorable mention. It doesn't quite fit in worst or best, but I couldn't not talk about it more, even though I've already talked about it. My worst books, I have 3, though honestly, one of them, I'm going to talk about my third worst very briefly because I don't feel like it really deserves to be on this list. My third worst book of the quarter is When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain by Nevo. I do not think this is a bad book. And so, I don't know, I gave it 2 stars and that's why it's here. But I do not think this is a bad book. I read this for Squash That series and I ended up DNFing the series. I didn't pay enough attention to the first book. So I didn't grasp the world enough in the first book. And then the second book, which is this one, I think, it just didn't do it for me, but not in a way that I think it was bad. I just wasn't engaged in it. It just didn't catch my interest personally. And I do think that's a me problem and not the book problem, so I'm not going to talk anymore about it. My other 2-star, second worst book of this quarter was Eclipse by Stephanie Meyer. The Twilight series. Twilight did make my worst books in last quarter. This is the Throwback Book Club that I host with Danielle. If you want info, the Discord is linked down below. In the new year, 2026, January through March, we are reading Divergent, which I'm really excited for. But Twilight has not been a favorite of mine. I found the first couple books really boring. Eclipse really bothered me in a lot of ways. I felt like it was so Mormon purity culture, just like gross in ways that I didn't like. There were some gross things that happened and some gross reactions to them. And I just really, or maybe that was New Moon. They're all blurring together, but this was my lowest rated of the series. I thought it was like it was kind of both boring and annoying, so it didn't do it for me. But if you're interested in hearing me and Danielle discuss Breaking Dawn and our reflections on the whole series, check out the live show, which I believe is on Danielle's channel tonight at maybe 5 o'clock. Probably after this is posted. Who knows? And join the Discord if you're interested in watching the movies with us. We're watching New Moon together today as I'm filming this, which is Saturday. But we will be watching Eclipse and both parts of Breaking Dawn coming up soon. So if you're interested in watching with us, join our Discord. Sorry that was just a throwback plug, but I didn't like that book. Sorry. And the worst book I read this quarter was Fierce Kingdom by Jen Phillips. I talked about this book at length in my Dollar Tree video, which was where I read books from the Dollar Tree inspired by friend and booktuber Just Martine. And I didn't like this one. I don't know why I picked it. I don't think it was poorly written, but it is the concept, and I will tell you the concept and you will know why I didn't like it. Because I just didn't enjoy my experience. This is about a woman who gets trapped in a zoo during an active shooter situation with her 4-year-old. It was miserable, and I didn't like it. I gave it 1.5 stars. It would have been 1 star, except that I thought some of the sentences were actually kind of nicely written, but that was the only thing that was good about it. So, really not a fan of that one. On to my best books. As you saw in the stats, there were no 5-star reads this quarter, unfortunately. But I did have a 4.5, which we'll get to last as my favorite book of the quarter. And I picked out 2 4s that I thought were the best 4s of this quarter. My third favorite book of this quarter was Where the Axe is Buried by Ray Naylor. This is an interesting one, and I honestly picked it sort of just because I kind of wanted to talk about it a little. This was Martine, the aforementioned Just Martine's pick for Bailey's Shelf This Book Club. Martine and Bailey and everyone I mentioned will be linked down below. The Shelf This Book Club is a great book club that Bailey facilitates. You should definitely join it if you love a book club. Where the Axe is Buried was the December pick, and it was picked by just Martine. It's a sci-fi. At the live show, no one could really describe what it was about, and so I'm not going to try right now, but I know a lot of you maybe read it with the book club as well, so I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. I have continued to think about this book. I feel like the things it had to say about AI and government and technology were really interesting, and I really want to reread it. Now that I kind of know where it's going, I sort of want to read it again and see what I can pick up. Because it did take me a while to get acquainted with the characters because there's so many perspectives, and that was a lot of people's big complaint, was that there were too many perspectives and it was confusing, and I agree. But I think it was just the themes were really fascinating. So I would like to read it again. I've been thinking about it. And I know a lot of people in the book club didn't really like it, but I think I did. And I don't know how really to talk about it, but I think I liked it. And the second best book I read this quarter was The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. I actually have it right here. I don't want to knock the Gitrog monster, so I'm not going to pick it up. This is the Gitrog monster. Good friend of mine. The Poisonwood Bible is a book I've been meaning to read for a really long time. And it's about this family on a mission trip. And they, it's about the politics of the region and the relationships they have with the people who are native to that region. And it's also about religion and family, because it's told from the perspectives of the women of this family. There's the mother and then also the 4 sisters. 2 of them are twins. Yeah, 4 sisters, 2 of them are twins. And I felt like every character had such a unique voice, and I found that really engaging. The sisters each had such distinct personalities and voices in the way that they wrote, or the way that they told the story. And also, I love a book where big national or international politics are happening in the background of people's daily lives. I felt this very much with Brotherless Night by V.V. Ganeshanathan, which I will have flashed on the screen so you can actually see how the author's name is pronounced. No, you can't see how it's pronounced. Spelled. So you can look it up, and then you can see how it's pronounced. Someone, not me, pronouncing it. Anyway, I thought that book was really good in the way that it explored the mundane life things that are happening while large political movements are happening. And I felt very similarly about this, that we were following the mundanity, the smallness of these girls' lives with the backdrop of these great national political movements. And so I really thought this book was very excellent. I gave it 4 stars. I don't remember why. I think of it very fondly. And the best book, my favorite book I read in this quarter was Other People's Clothes. It's right there. Other People's Clothes by Kala Henkel. Or Kalia? Kala Henkel. This I talked about also in my Dollar Tree vlog, which I will have already linked, and if I haven't, there it is. This book was so fun. It's about the club scene in Berlin. It's a psychological thriller. I'm not going to recap everything I said about it in the other video, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It was fast moving. The characters were really engaging. And I thought it was well written, and I really liked it. and that was the best book that I read this quarter. It was a 4.5 and not a 5, but I did really, really like it. So yeah, I really liked it. I really want other people to read it, actually, because I would love to talk about it. So definitely recommend it. And if you read it, talk to me about it, about what you think. But yeah, I liked it. And that's going to be that for this wrap up. Comment down below if you have read any of these books or want to. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one coming very soon. Bye.